Hare Krishna. So I'm going to go back a little bit. What I've discovered is somehow I didn't have a book. I had to download the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. I got the one you sent, and the one I downloaded, it was everything like the original one, but it didn't have any purports. So I was reading it, and I went through the chapter really quickly. And then I realized that, wait, it doesn't have any purports, but this must have purports. So then I went and I found another verse. Yeah, I was missing the purports. So now that I went back and read the purports, I'd like to go back a little bit again and start with 15 of chapter 4 of volume 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrī Parīkṣit uvāca. sva-ślāghā-sahanāśakto. lajjāvanamitānanaḥ. prahlādo nāradaṁ natvā. gauravād avadac chanaiḥ. Śrī Parīkṣit said, unable to tolerate hearing his own praise, Prahlāda lowered his face in embarrassment, bowed down before Nārada, and respectfully addressed him in a quiet voice. Commentary: Prahlāda was ashamed to hear himself praised. He began to think that by speaking such impossible things, Nārada must be teasing him. Still, he spoke gently because he had great respect for Nārada, his Diksha guru. Had Prahlāda not been addressing such a revered person, Prahlāda might have expressed anger by replying in a louder voice. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Unmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, greetings from Govardhan. It's quite a wonderful place, quite spiritually intense. You can't get away from Krishna here. And today they sent me a car into Vrindavan. There was a nice 100 people Russian group, a wonderful program. Champak and Damodar Vinoda with them, because their mother is one of the group leaders. New people to Krishna consciousness. It's an incredible program what they have. So I spoke, and then I took them to the gardens of Vrindavan. And our Mali friend, we had a nice GoFund, and we collected $4,000 over 4 lakhs, including, I joked, to break the male patriarchy. Well, we gave 4 lakhs to the family, but we also made sure that each of the ladies, and arranged it with Sridhar too, they all got 2,500 rupees. I mean, they're going to build a new house and things, but each of the ladies, because there's the mother and her 3 daughter-in-laws, got 2,500 rupees. They were so happy to buy saris and whatever they want. But anyway, it was amazing. They fed 100 people. They had a whole operation there. They had 3 or 4 stoves. They had a lot ready before it was like smooth. Little children were serving plates. All the family was involved. So they're really serving the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by enlivening the pilgrims. They were so just happy to just see the untouched, beautiful Vrindavan flower garlands with the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. I told them that Vrindavan means the flowers, the birds, the cows, and those who have that natural bhakti within their hearts. So it was so uplifting for these people. It was a great pilgrimage group. And of course, I wasn't able to go around Vrindavan. And I joke, I wrote that article, I hate country walks. It's just not my thing. Different people like it. But, Krishna inspired me that when I'm here, I have to go around half every day. We do half 2 hours and 15 minutes. We go fast and hearing very clearly the chanting. And tapo divyam yena kaputva sattvam shudye yasmad brahma sokyam tunanta. That, austerity is divine. Despite the irrational impulse of the mind and senses, you keep engaged in your devotional service. It detaches one from the body, and which drags one away from Krishna. It's not separate from Krishna consciousness. It certainly keeps you really fit. I know I had a little high blood pressure. I don't know, but it brought the top level down 15 points. Just every 2-hour walk with some nice devotees that join. And you'll read my next Monday morning greeting, Talking to God. Talking to God. Because the mantra is vocative, every name. It's not just Krishna. If you know the Sanskrit, it's O Krishna. It's declarative, it's addressing. So it's my time to talk to God and beg for service and beg for clarity of service. So it's quite a program. A little austere. I got to keep my feet kind of fit, because once you get those cracks, I do have one crack, but and the other thing is, which I'm going to write about next week, is chanting and writing. Because when you go around, the mind becomes so clear. So I get such good ideas for my writing. It reminds me of that story of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when this distinguished professor wanted to see him, had an appointment, and Bhakti Siddhanta is busy. He says, we just need help polishing the brass in the deity room. After that, I'll talk to you. And then he came, he said, oh my God, my schedule. And he came, and the same thing happened. And the third day, Bhakti Siddhanta said, what is your question? He said, the answer came when I was Savasya Chaham Hridisani Vishto Matasmitir Gyanam Apoanam Cha. I'm situated in everyone's heart, and from me becomes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. So I kind of feel like that. I had a nice realization. I'm, going around the hill. It's been quite quiet, but now it's starting to, especially I go at 5 o'clock, it's starting to pick up. And you see a lot of people on the hill, a lot of people doing Dhanurdhara Swami. That's become a huge fad. Even the stores, they sell stacks of these styrofoams that do them on. But I saw one man walking around, on his phone. So I just said, this is yeah, come on in. Come in. Come in, please. Great. Yes, please.
Hi, Krishna. Oh, you were giving a class?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay, well, stay for the class. Yeah. Sit, use the chair. On today, I sit on the floor. You can use the chair.
Yes.
It's great that Hari Parshad's coming to the Puri retreat, right?
Yes. Actually, I came to talk about the retreat. I didn't know that you were.
Okay, well, I do want to talk about the retreat. Yeah, we got a great community out here in Govardhan. Yeah. It's just, there's so many things happening out here. It's amazing. You got all the of little Vaishnava communities from Radhakund to around here, the ISKCON Govardhan place, to Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, which is like a Govardhan resort, but it's really Bhakti-Vigan Goswami's ashram that Krishna built for him. And the rich Indians just buy houses to keep their black money, I think. and his project, and then there's the Govardhan Retreat Center on the other side. And now you have Jai Jagannath, and what is that? I'm going to catch the culprit. Is there anybody who doesn't have their? There's one person that, well, everybody has the sound. Jai Jagannath with his Dandavat Parikram, and a lot of people from America I know on that. So it's really like a happening place. It's not just like one. And some people feel I've become crowded like Vrindavan, but I don't think so. Because you can stay here for the class, right?
I was just trying to go
Okay. Okay. Because you got that huge God in the center of Giriraj, the mountain. Mostly there's ashrams around it. So anyway, I was walking around the hill and someone was on a phone, and I said, this is the real difference between extreme Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti, because what Vaidhi Bhakti means is you practice because you have faith in the rule. You have faith in the rule. And the rules, the real rule, though, is to remember Krishna and not forget him. That's all rules, but you have that faith in the rule. You do things not because you have a natural attraction, but because you have an understanding that this is good for you. Where pure Raganuga Bhakti, your faith is not in the rule, your faith is in your relationship with Krishna. And therefore, one on that platform of Raganuga Bhakti becomes above the rules and regulations, because his focus is on absorption. And because of that absorption, he will follow all the rules, but the rules are subservient to his absorption. And if one of the rules doesn't fit that, like, for example, the morning program, He may not go to the morning program, a great Vaishnava. He may be absorbed in another way, in his room, meditating and chanting. So you just walk around and you get such nice. And then I had another realization, because there's one other class I give. I go to Vrindavan approximately once a week, and there's about Kinchana Krishna, Yogamaya, Bhakti Shastra. There's just a couple of people. And I'm doing the second chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And what that is Krishna-das Kaviraj feeling he's about to leave the world. And not knowing if he'll finish, he ultimately does. At the beginning of the Madhya Lila, he summarizes all the pastimes, because he has them. And practically, if he doesn't give it, it becomes lost to the world, because of his relationship with Raghunath Das Goswami, who was the servant of Śrī Damodar, who was the confidential associate in the Gambhira. So a lot of the pastimes may have been lost. So he's afraid he won't finish it, but he thinks if he can give one verse for each pastime, he gives one verse for each pastime, then at least if he dies, great souls can chant on these verses and maybe the full pastime will manifest. He's able after that to complete, but he just wanted to make sure. And he writes like that, I'm feeble, I'm old. And Prabhupada identifies with that, is why he gave the Krishna book, because he's afraid he wouldn't finish, and he didn't. But look at Prabhupada's genius, but you got from him still all the pastimes. He did the Krishna book. So the second chapter, and this is my analysis, it describes Lord Chaitanya's ecstasies. But that's the second part of Lord Chaitanya's Leela, because there's the Baharanga Hetu, the reason he appeared for others, which is preaching Krishna consciousness, and there's the Antaranga Hetu, the reason he appeared for himself, which is to experience the feelings of Radharani. So I think he expressed this because he's afraid he may not be able to explain that in the Anjalila. So he explains these various ecstasies, and the form of those ecstasies is the disappointed lover, Radharani, the disappointed lover, because the disappointed lover is the most intense emotion and focus in love in the material world. The spiritual world, it's the most intense focus on Krishna in love. So, and a lot of those describe this incredible suffering that Radharani undergoes. Ashlishava padaratam panastumam madarshanam mamahatam karotu va. You may make me brokenhearted by not being before me. You may crush me by embrace. It's described in such an intense way because it's the most intense. So I was trying, and I somehow, by Krishna's grace, I was walking around the hill and I came up with how to explain it. How do you explain the highest ecstasy is this incredible suffering? And then I thought of a great analogy that explains it perfectly. When we discussed this, when you watch a drama, the drama can be tragedy. So you will feel the tragedy, but you're enjoying the drama. So it's like that. You're experiencing but there's something inner, just a little bit deeper, that's really intensely relishable. So like that, going around the hill. Now, here, I've gone back because I was reading a version that didn't have the purports. I didn't realize it. And I went through the chapter, and then I said, wait, it must have purports. And then I look back, and there's beautiful purports. So I'm going back a little bit. So this is Lord Shiva points Nārada to Prahlāda. Nārada, boom, in a second, because that's the spiritual. You're not physically distanced, you're distanced by consciousness. and it's another dimension which you cross over by faith. So boom. And by material things, pantastu koti satavatsura sampragam yo vayor atapi manaso muni pungavanam. By material, you can go by the speed of mind for millions and millions of years and not get there. So he's there at Sutaloka, and Prahlāda is completely absorbed in meditation. But then he sees Nārada. And Nārada, as it mentioned, is his guru. So this is very interesting. Nārada is the guru, and he's looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy, and it happens to be his disciple. So he goes. So naturally, Prahlāda stands up out of respect, and then falls down out of respect, and then begins to worship his guru by putting him on a throne. But Nārada just breaks down because he's not looking at any external relationship. He's looking on the absolute platform of the person's spiritual advancement, and this is the greatest devotee. And the formal worship by the disciple, but Nārada just, boom, he just hugs him and begins to cry and begins to profusely glorify Prahlāda as he should be glorified, which is basically a summary, a lot of the 7th canto, because it shows his devotion, how he was able to tolerate, his devotion, how he was young as he converted the children in his school, his devotion when the Shringadev came and all the demigods were fearful and he came close and the Shringadev was just licking him in affection and then offered him any boon, and he didn't want anything. He didn't want any liberation. So it says here he's unable to tolerate his praise, so he felt embarrassment. You can imagine if any of you, if Prabhupada walked in the room and started glorifying you profusely, where would you melt? So, and he addressed him in a quiet voice. Normally he'd be angry, but he couldn't be angry because this was his guru. You know, when you travel and you eat these Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta rotis and this hot dal, you're out there in the sun. You need a little drink every once in a while. So now Prahlāda's going to respond. And again, we just relish that when a soul, the false ego, which is a subtle material element, which allows the soul to contour its consciousness to the body and identification with the body for the purpose of enjoyment and control, for the purpose of a sense of superiority. So when someone doesn't have that false ego, it's such a beautiful thing because they're just not acting for themselves. It's rare. It's just rare to see in anyone. I can think of a few people that I can think, wow, this person doesn't have false ego. They don't care about praise. They don't react to criticism. They're not interested in being in the center. Very beautiful thing and very, very rare. But Prahlāda's at that level. And not only those things, but actually you have a clear vision of reality and your relationship. So you can never think yourself great. Because the fact of the matter is, prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha hankarabu, that you're helpless, practically. Our greatness is being used by Krishna. And whatever little abilities we have becomes extenuated, becomes increased, becomes something special by becoming Krishna's instrument. And then when we lack that surrender, and I've seen it happen in the Krishna consciousness movement of very, very powerful people who then no longer could surrender, and punah mushaka bhava, again a mouse. There's that story that Prabhupada tells that the sage was being disturbed by a mouse, so he changed the mouse into a cat. Disturbed by a cat, he turned the mouse into a dog. Then he was the dog, so he changed the dog into a lion, and the lion attacked him, and he said, punah mushaka bhava, again a mouse. So we can become this, we can become that, we can become sannyas, we can become guru, we can become big preacher, we can become everything, and we can do such incredible things on such an incredible level. But then, if we no longer surrender to Krishna, then punah mushaka bhava, again a mouse. So he realizes that. So it's hard to take credit when you see the power of God. And you understand that there are 5 factors of action and only one is the endeavor. So much is happening by the power of God. So he's just going to counteract it because he just can't tolerate it. It's not, and again, we mentioned that point many times. It's not just tolerate it. It's false ego. It interferes with the bhava of devotion, which has nothing to do with being great or significant. In fact, those kind of feelings can cover you and cover your feelings. So you're really in a bhav. This is ecstasy. This is the internal potency. This is Krishna's love. And this becomes your faith. And why should you want the cheap thrills of control and enjoyment? It's detestable for you. When you really got that taste for Krishna consciousness, these other things are useless for you. So you resist them. And he's respectfully doing that. And he's saying, you said I was great as a young kid, a young child, but children, they don't really know what they're doing. So he just, as a general rule, before the awakening of intelligent discrimination, cannot have understanding required to engage in devotional service. There may be individual exceptions in the highly cultured family of sages and saintly devotees, but Prahlāda, considering himself an uncivilized demon, would hardly claim to be such an exception. So he's born in a family of daityas, of demons. He's Putin's son, he's Trump's son, he's Biden's son. He's Netanyahu's son, it's like, hey, I may be a little enlightened, but come on, look where I'm coming from. I'm not one of those special people. So he deflects it. And then he's going to say, it's very interesting, that if I have power, it's my surrender to God. So it's his power. What I'm doing and the intelligence to do it, it both comes from God. So even if I'm doing something of significance in enlightened consciousness, I cannot take credit for it. And I feel this way, somehow, I don't know what my life is like, but somehow I had to find service, and I'm kind of resourceful, and I had limited options, and I found this Monday morning greetings writing. And then I have this kind of determination that once I start something, I just continue doing it. I have that kind of Kshatriya spirit in a sense, maybe. And I'm amazed after everyone's finished, and really don't take credit for it, because I'm just watching. I don't know where I'm going, and then somehow or other, I just keep at it, and then something comes out. It comes out much better than I feel is my own personal capability. So you don't get like, oh, this is no, it is something. And then it all goes back to the mercy of Guru, and the power that comes from Anyabilashita shunyam jnana karma janavritam anukulyena Krishna nu. Shilanam bhakti uttama bhakti is you want to please Krishna. Krishna nu shilan, by your activities that follow Krishna. But the activities that follow Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. And that reciprocation is where your real power comes from. It's like chanting Hare Krishna. I'm doing a little bit more, and then I'm seeing, wow, I'm actually hearing the name. I'm walking around the hill. Sometimes you're walking, you can't hear, I'm really hearing the name. I'm hearing the first part, I'm hearing the second part. And what is it? What is it? It's Krishna's mercy. It's so clear. When you get a little taste, a little something, a little concentration, it's Krishna's mercy. It's the only explanation. So still, when one receives instructions from great souls, those instructions have the power to awake higher understanding. And then one can engage in devotional service to the Lord. Therefore, it is not a sign of greatness that ordinary persons like me can persevere somehow. I can't. Such terrible disturbances, give spiritual enlightenment to children, show compassion to suffering souls, get the boon of liberation. So he's giving all credit to this process. I received instructions. I practiced devotional service. Then Krishna empowered me. So again, it's not our own power. It's Krishna's power. If we want to take any credit, it's because we surrendered to Krishna. Our credit is that we hit our head on the floor and we pen dandavat pranams. That's our credit. That's a great credit. But from the person, the spiritual person, he doesn't see. Because that seems so simple. Once you do it, once you surrender to Krishna. So he doesn't think that's such an incredible thing. I just surrendered to Krishna. And all the rest comes by God. In other words, each item Nārada offers as a sign of Prahlāda's greatness is simply a natural effect of pure devotional service. So Prahlāda argues that the way he behaved is no with laudable qualities. Lord Nrsimha and Sri Nārada Okay, we got a bus. Who's got that thing on that's making noise? Merely from these symptoms, the best of saints do not conclude that Krishna has given a person his mercy. Krishna's mercy, this is all Prahlāda, blessed Nārada, appears only in truly worthy servants. So, I think a devotee sees more not what he's given to Krishna, but what he's not given to Krishna. And one who's not advanced sees what he's given to Krishna, not what he's given to Krishna. He sees what he's given to Krishna, not what he hasn't given to Krishna. And an advanced devotee sees what he has given to Krishna. Doesn't see what he has given to Krishna, he sees what he hasn't given to Krishna. So it's just so natural for a very pure soul to think that way. Clarity of consciousness enables one to see one's faults. What? Okay. I'll wait for you. 1 second. Okay. So now he's going to point to someone he feels he has something more than he has. And it's a very interesting thing that he points to Hanuman, because he feels he's meditating. But he feels that he still has anxieties. And and meditation, to go nam, rup, mind, for chanting, you can be full of anxieties and put it into the holy name. But the meditation, it disrupts the fact. So meditation is very high practice, and kirtan is considered a much deeper absorption. I kind of felt that when I went this morning, and there's such a nice group, such a nice setting, beautiful ashram where they're all staying, and all chairs, they all had chairs. I'm sitting up front and saying, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. It's so absorbing when you're doing kirtan. There's nothing like it when you're chanting kirtan. It's so absorbing. Hanumad Arivattasya Kapi Seva Kritastina Param Vigya Kule Chitte Smaranam Kriyate Maya. I have never performed any real service for the Lord like Hanuman and others. I have only remembered the Lord sometimes when my mind was troubled. So I'm going to read this purport because it's significant, and also to share with you the genius of Gopi Pranadhana, Jayadvaita Maharaj, and Keshav Bharti. The clarity. Jayadvaita Maharaj is the supreme personality of editing. It's so clear. Commentary, but you are a devotee of Lord Vishnu, Nārada might interject, and so you do deserve his mercy. Prahlāda replies by constantly contrasting himself with others like Hanuman, who serve the Lord directly. Even now, Prahlāda says, I am only practicing meditation. I have not yet become proficient, even as a passive meditator. Nārada might argue in return that fixing one's mind on the Lord is one of the 9 methods of pure devotional service. Remembering the Lord's names, forms, and pastimes is the highest level of realization in Bhakti Yoga. Because seva means devotional service, Prahlāda should not use this word to deny that he's ever served the Lord. So don't think that meditation or chanting and all these are not service. They're service. Prahlāda answers this by characterizing himself as disturbed by material anxieties, a condition that automatically disqualifies one from nam smaran, rup smaran, and lila smaran. A further argument is also implicit here, that remembrance is not the best form of devotional service. Since it depends on the functions of the mind, we're subject to distraction by anxiety and other emotions. This argument we elaborated more fully later on in the glories of Goloka. I think in the story of Gokumar, maybe I think it's there that it's going to come that, yeah, the goal is meditating, but the best way for meditation is Nam Sankirtan. Yadmad vishayakam tasya lalanadi prashasyate manyate mayakam tatu kastya lilayatam para. You praise me because he caressed me and showed other signs of affection, but some consider such affectionate behavior merely a false show of Maya, and others just a display of his pastimes. So the intimacy he showed, but in the purport, it's going to explain that in, Mayavadi philosophy, this is all sentimental, it's just an illusion. Or he's saying it's God's pastime. It's not my credit. It's he's showing mercy. I didn't. Commentary, the Advaitavadis of the Shankaracharya school judge the loving dealings of the Supreme Person with his devotees to be illusory. The Advaitavadis hold that the Supreme Absolute Truth cannot become involved in such duality. But others, the Vaishnavas of the devotional schools, affirm that these are the Lord's pastimes. Far from being illusory, they constitute the highest spiritual reality. The personality of Godhead is full in all transcendental qualities of Satchidananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. And with the help of his Satchidananda potencies, he can easily engage in Satchidananda pastimes. Here, Prahlāda's idea is that even though the Lord's displays of affection may be considered real, he has acted in these ways only to fulfill the purpose of his own enjoyment. Prahlāda thinks that Lord Nrsimha only pretended to care about him. So I have another class today. We're going to speak with the Russian devotees. So I'll end here. Jamunajaya, if you're here, you can start with any point that you liked.
Hare Krishna Raj, I'm a bit in the darkness right now, so I hope you can hear and see me. I'm at the Bhakti Center this morning. I'm doing some service, and so I tucked myself away in a corner so I could hear you better. So
Okay.
So, but I really appreciating so much actually that one of those last points that Prahlāda is saying, oh, Lord Nrsimhadev is only pretending. And it's so interesting that Prahlāda doesn't see his remembrance as service, and he's the one that set down the 9 devotional, practices, that he's so humble. He doesn't even see that he is serving. And he's so humble. And I also love that point when you said it's only when we hit our head on the floor, is the way you said it. Only when we hit our head on the floor and pay obeisances. That's such a great visual image for me. So thank you, Maharaj.
Don't hurt yourself, though.
I won't.
Okay. Anybody else like to say hello or share a reflection?
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. Not a reflection, but this pretending that Prahlāda was thinking Lord Nrsimhadev was showing towards him. But what's his reasoning behind thinking? For what reason was he thinking that Lord Nrsimha would even pretend?
For his pastimes, to show for others how he reciprocates with devotees, and he was just being an instrument in the pastimes, showing his Lord Nrsimhadev is showing his mercy.
But isn't that the same as saying that Lord Nrsimhadev is like being artificial? I don't understand.
Well, it's not artificial. It's not being. Well, obviously, he's not being artificial. It's real. He's not showing he's artificial, but he's just directing it towards Prahlāda because of the pastime, and not anything that Prahlāda has particularly earned, etc., like that.
And that's what he's calling Maya. Remember, he used this word Maya in connection with this.
That was in the purport, I think. I think that was in the purport.
Yeah, I didn't understand this Maya in this connection.
I think it was in the purport. Well, what Prahlāda was saying is that some people say that this is illusory. But then in the purport, it says Prabhupada's saying, he's saying, no, I'm not really saying it. Some people may say it's illusory.
That what is illusory?
But the devotee and God and their affection, like love and devotion and things from the Mayavadi perspective, it's just part of Maya. The real ability is Jnana, having that philosophical discrimination. That's the real thing. Yeah. Okay, Gail, thank you.
Okay. Maharaj, I just want to say I really liked that realization that you got during your walk about how to present how to harmonize the dichotomy between the ecstasy and the pain of love. That was as a movie person, you're right. I'm a movie person, and so that worked perfectly for me.
You're a movie person?
Oh, I'm an addict.
Well, I can say I just thought, wow, this is such a good analogy to explain it. I mean, you try to explain it in so many ways, right? Because that's a perfect analogy. It's a feeling of sadness that's a feeling of joy.
Yeah, that was
too good. Okay, thanks, Gail. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. This is Krishna-katha. Could you please explain it? I didn't get it. How the highest ecstasy is the highest suffering. I didn't get it.
I just gave that analogy, but besides that analogy, the highest ecstasy is love. The real energy of love. And that's heightened in things like separation, which is, like pain. So although it seems like it's painful, love is increasing. All the leelas are like that, just like in the Kalila Leela, everybody's falling and Krishna's, almost dying, and they're having these feelings. But it's ecstasy because it's just increasing the love. And what does Lord Chaitanya want to feel? He wants to feel Radharani's incredible feelings of separation as Akrura is taking Krishna out of Vrindavan. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. And anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Ram Sadowski. Wow. Very well.
I just wanted to share that when you were saying about Prahlāda Maharaj and how he came from the family of the demons, I was thinking that I myself, I came from my inner demon. I don't even need to look at my family, in this Kali Yuga age. I was just reflecting on my past and what activities I've been doing, and I was thinking how fortunate I am to be able to, change the lifestyle and change the interests in life, and, really try to engage myself in Krishna consciousness after all of that.
Nice realization. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hari
Gurudev.
Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Good. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Tota Gopinath here.
Hey, Toto.
So great to
Yes,
see you, so absorbed in Govardhan.
Yeah, Hari Bol. Who else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Amala, Hari Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
My prayers for your people. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Gurudev. Thank you.
And all the people in that region. Okay. Hari Bol. Anybody
Hare
else?
Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hari Bol, Bhakti Devi. Hi, Hari Krishna. Where are you now? Where are you?
Me? In
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Yes.
My Janmastan.
I was in Brooklyn, Vrindavan this morning for part of your talk.
Great, great. Hari Bol.
I'll send you a text today, okay?
Great, great.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Isabel, Ishvari Sundari. Oops.
Ishvari Sundari. How are you?
So, I have to get used to the new name. I'm doing really well, Maharaj. I'm starting my 5th week or my 6th week of recovery. So doing really well. Halfway there.
Less pain.
Oh, the pain before surgery totally gone, and one from surgery, it's very minimal at this point. It's like a new lease in life, actually, it feels like.
It's all my mercy.
It's all your mercy. Thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's Yvette.
Hey, Yvette, how nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for your talk. It has me thinking about my ego and my, relationships in this world, how it's the drama playing out to bring me closer to Krishna. In my last relationship, I'm still struggling with, like, my head knows I have to forgive, because if I don't, it's going to destroy my spiritual life, but my heart isn't there. And in reflecting on that and listening to your talk, it's like, well, my heart's not there because my ego's in the way. Because I say, well, how could this guy do this to me? Those are the stories I tell myself. So it's all ego-based. And I got to resolve that and work through that to get to real forgiveness, like Prahlāda did with his father. Like, this was this really evil guy, and he was able to forgive him because he knew.
Yvette, I didn't know you were such a devotee. Amazing. It's so nice. You just see people coming around. You don't even know if they're committed. And then all of a sudden she's listening to classes. She's at my Vyas Puja. It just works, Krishna consciousness. It just works. You just got to not create the obstacles to prevent people from coming. Okay, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you for the class.
Okay, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, great. Who else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Raja Radhe, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Great. Okay, who
Hare
else?
Krishna Maharaj, this is Sri Gandharvik.
Wow, I'm so glad you're on the class, and psyched that you're coming to Puri.
Yes, me too.
Wow, just let us know anything we can do. You're in touch also with Jamuna Pavani,
Yes.
Whatever it is. Okay, Hari Bol. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Srila Govinda. Thank you for class.
In separation from Braja Sundari Radhe.
Yeah.
Let's
I just got a message from her. She said she just bathed in the Ganga. They just got the Rishikesh.
Okay. She'll be living down the road from me here, so I'll see her.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. Hari Bol. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Henry.
Are you in your house, Henry? Your place?
I am in my house. And yes, I know it looks a little cluttered behind me.
No. I just don't
Krishna
see...
consciousness does work, Maharaj. It's so powerful. You know, I look forward to your class so much. You're so far ahead of everybody else. I mean, you just take me to a wonderful place. I'm thankful from the bottom of my heart, Maharaj.
Henry, I value our friendship for 40 years. At my Vyas Puja, I said 30 years. You said 40 years, huh? I remember when you came. I met you in Vrindavan. That's special. Anyway, you know, you got that temple in Potomac, and I'm sure they need your help. I heard Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta had to fly back because his wife got injured or something, and he's back here. I'm sure you always have some nice service too. It's so great that you actually have a temple there too. Okay, great. Great to see you, Henry. Haribo. Anybody else? Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva